What's up, gang? Thank you once again for tuning back into the channel today. We have got breaking news coming down the wire as always. Which WWE superstar is being removed from the next season of Total Divas? We also have a former WWE superstar and current Impact Wrestling employee arrested just a few days ago. I need to chime in on everything that's been going on with Randy Orton and this Twitter thing that's been going on about the indies. We are going to talk about that. We got Today in Pro Wrestling History, all that and more right here and right now on the SledgeHammer Wrestling Show. Dive. Just dive. What is up, everybody? Thank you so much once again for tuning back into the channel. Welcome to the SledgeHammer Wrestling Show breaking news report right here on SledgeHammer TV, only available on YouTube.com. And we are going to get right into the news by starting off with my new favorite little segment that I do, Today in Pro Wrestling History. Now, I know a lot of people do this, and I don't care, because this is my show, and I want to do it, and sometimes we all have a different little fact. Now, I haven't watched anybody's stuff today, so I don't know if anybody else has done this fact, but today in Pro Wrestling History is a very important day. 54 years ago today, right here in New York City, Bruno Sammartino defeated Buddy Rogers in just 48 seconds to win the WWF Championship. That win would begin an unprecedented championship reign for Bruno Sammartino as he would go on to hold the title for the remainder of the 1960s before losing it to Ivan Koloff on January the 18th, 1971. Rest in peace, Ivan Koloff. An astounding 2,803 days later. Think about that. That's nearly 3,000 days. That's an amazing accomplishment. It will never be replicated, never be duplicated in any promotion anywhere around the world. The business just does not do that type of thing anymore. Maybe it should. Who knows? If there's somebody out there that nobody is better than, then maybe you could pull it off, but man, nowadays that would never happen. It is by far the longest reigning championship record in WWE history and is going to stay that way for quite a long time. Let's get into the real news, and some of this news is better than others, and I'm very happy about this news. This is good news for me. We have learned, thank you to the Pro Wrestling Sheet, who broke the story earlier today, Eva Marie, all red garbage bag, all red nothing, little Miss Get Off My TV, will not be returning to my TV as I watch Total Divas next season, and I could not be more happy because she's absolutely terrible. Everything that I got to know about her by experiencing her on Total Divas in these previous 5 seasons that we've had has only made me hate her even more and not want her to be part of the company even more. And it seems as if they are further distancing themselves from one another. There has been no official announcement of her being released from the company or anything like that. But it certainly does seem to be the case. Eva Marie will not be returning to Total Divas for Season 7, and producers have been interviewing her potential replacements, including, but not limited to, Charlotte, Becky Lynch, and Alexa Bliss, who are rumored to be heavily favored for the replacement next season. Multiple sources have confirmed that production is hard at work interviewing the female roster to determine the new cast member before filming begins next month. It is unclear as of this report if Paige will continue to appear on the show, but our sources say the original cast members, Nikki Bella, Brie Bella, Natty, and Naomi, are locked in to appear next season. Eva Marie was last seen on the show just a few weeks ago on the show's season finale, dealing with her wellness policy violation, which began the slow trickle-down effect that has brought us to this point today. Fantastic news! Fantastic news! I'm going to do a little dance about it, and I'm going to shake it up a notch, because I hate this broad so much. When I first seen her, I said, she's got an amazing look. We need to see what she can do athletically. And there's all these reports during all her training and everything that she's good. And, you know, she was training with Brian Kendrick, for God's sakes. I'd love to train with Brian Kendrick. I'm sure he did the best he could. But we were never able to see the final product, if it's even been polished to a final product. We've had to sit through terrible promos and introductions with the guy, hello, and this is Eva Marie. Get off. Get out of here. I don't want to fucking see it. And now we're not going to have to. Supposedly, she's going to be done with the company. It's only a matter of time before the announcement is officially made. And I couldn't be more happy. I'm sorry if this upsets some of you, that I am very much enjoying the misery of another person. And you know what? Karma's a bitch. And I get my share of misery. So when I see somebody that I dislike or that I have a certain distaste for not being or not having a good day, it doesn't bother me. It makes me feel good, because that means my bad day wasn't as bad as somebody else's. That may be shitty, and I'm sorry. You know, I'm generally a nice guy. You guys know, if you've been watching all this time, you know I'm a nice guy. I love everybody, pretty much, you know? But certain people, everybody's got those people. You can't look me in the eye right now. Look at me right here and tell me in the comments below that there's not somebody you don't like. And that if that person you saw was walking and tripped and busted their ass on the floor, you're going to laugh your ass off. Not because they hurt themselves, but because you don't like them. And good. Good for you, because I don't like you. Anyway, we're going off track, as sometimes can happen. This is what happens when we talk about Eva Marie. I get all, twisted up inside, because it just brings out the worst in me. And hopefully, this just might be the final time I ever have to reference that red, disgusting trash bag. Moving on. Impact Wrestling employee and former WWE superstar Al Snow was arrested this week in Kentucky. However, Al Snow has already released a statement saying the whole thing isn't as bad as it sounds. Snow was arrested in Winchester, Kentucky on Monday night for a failure to appear charge from a previous court date, according to a report from Wrestling Inc. To clear up my arrest, and I quote, this is Al Snow, to clear up my arrest, I had a ticket from 2 years ago, Snow tweeted on Wednesday morning. I took care of it, but thanks to a typo, there was a bench warrant for me that I was completely unaware of. Snow then said the arrest occurred while he was having car trouble and that he was later released on bail. He was still able to laugh about the situation, though, and I quote once again, a typo resulted in my arrest, and now I've spelled time in the big house, LOL, ... end quote. So, Al Snow, very uneventfully, gets arrested for doing nothing, and it just goes to show you that everything Mick Foley ever says about Al Snow is right. The guy can't even get fucking arrested in an interesting manner or for doing something that's even worth reporting. I almost wish I didn't read this now. I thought we were going to get something good. But what did we get? Oh, I missed the court date and the stupid girl didn't write in the paper And then they put out this warrant for me, which shouldn't have been put out. And, what are you going to do? Ha ha ha, chuckle. Come on, Al Snow, be more interesting. Mick Foley said it about you for decades. Who could be worse than Al Snow? Nobody. And this proves it. This story proves it. A very uneventful, uninteresting story about the arrest of Al Snow. I'm sure Mick Foley will appreciate this one, and he'll probably tear him apart for it way better than I could, because he's been on Al Snow's ass forever, and some of the stuff he said was hysterical. The way he tore him apart in his first book, Foley is Good, it was, Have a Nice Day. Foley is Good was the second book. Because he's done it in every book, so I get them confused, but he's so vicious and so great. Makes me fucking laugh. And this is proof! The man's right. This is proof in the pudding. Look at Al Snow. And this is just ridiculous. So we are going to move away from this, and we're going to get to the main crux of the situation. And the whole reason why I'm even sitting here really talking to you guys is I need to voice my opinion on this whole independent wrestling situation with the dive thing that's been going on with Randy Orton. Now, this whole thing has only gained this much attention because Randy Orton had to put his 2 cents in. And it has been going around lately that, he was just fucking with people. He was just messing with everybody, and he was trolling the internet. They were having a few drinks overseas at a bar somewhere, and he probably... I'm just speculating here, of course, but he probably was like, hey, I'm going to say this and watch the internet go nuts. Boom. And it certainly fucking did. It called out everybody from old-timers all the way to retired pros, such as CM Punk weighed in on this. Bubba Ray Dudley had something to say about it. Everybody was getting on Randy Orton's case, and if I'm being honest with you, I think he was just messing with everybody. So all the hate and all the controversy about Randy and him not respecting the business and not knowing what's going on, where there may be an inkling of truth to some of that, but Randy Orton does not have the personality to lend itself to, he didn't mean it. You're not going to... Randy Orton is looked at as a prick. Everybody thinks he's this cocky, arrogant guy. And that's a character that he's playing. And I'm sure he's a little standoffish in public. He's not, the most welcoming figure. He probably doesn't like to be bothered if he's having a bad day, as none of us would. So give the guy a break. I think he was just busting balls in this situation. But it really brought out the worst of the worst, and people were just going nuts, and now it's become a thing. It's become a thing. So let's get into it, and let's talk about this thing, and let's do it as quickly as possible. This whole thing starts off, let me pull this shit up here, from a tweet made by Daniel D-Man Parker. This guy's a pro wrestler, probably wrestles the independents. His Twitter page says, as I'm reading, he's a professional wrestler in Canada, Japan, and the United States of America. Booking inquiries, your standard independent wrestler Twitter page. Okay, this guy tweets out this thing. And normally, all these words would never fit in a tweet. So they took a picture of what they had to say and posted it on Twitter. And here, we're going to read this word for word. Daniel D. Man Parker. Every indie match now. Handshake. Drawn out move exchange. This is awesome chant. Strike. Dive. No sell indie strong style. Dive. More strikes. No sells. Dive. Flippy floppy sequence. Dive. Hit everyone with each other's finisher. Then Humpty Dumpty we all fall down. Fight forever chant. Rinse and repeat until every move is useless and means nothing. Dive. Take unsafe shot that looks like shit, then hurts like hell, then roll up finish. Handshake and hug after every match. Everyone's hands raised, all the guys chant. Go home and type on social media thanking your opponents and the company for the match, telling others they should book these guys. Dive. So this is the tweet, or the statement, that started this whole thing. This guy apparently does not appreciate the style of wrestling that's going on the independent scene. It is very high spotty. It is very untraditional. And if I'm being honest, there is a lot of truth in everything that this guy's saying. But that does not mean one does not enjoy that. As I do, it's a different style of wrestling. It's a different way to perform. But we're going to get into all that in just a little bit. Let's continue on, because this tweet was then retweeted by Rip Rogers, which was then addressed by Randy Orton. And Randy Orton, much to the same, took a picture of what he had to say and posted it on Twitter. And here is Randy Orton's statement on the whole thing. Sorry to the indie marks, indie guys and old timers who do dives, took offense. Just having a good time over a few drinks in Denmark, closing the SmackDown Live tour, while beating Raw in making over $5 million in the last 11 shows. Now, I know to some that doesn't equate to a standing room only crowd of 150 people paying $8 at an armory somewhere. But in a big boy world, that's called putting asses in seats. So enjoy your flips, dives, and 20 super kicks per match. To each their own. I will go dive back into my 13th title run and get ready to flip when my bank statement comes out this month. Headlock. That's from Randy Orton. Excuse me. And, you know, Randy Orton, again, I can't argue with this. He's, you know, having fun at the expense of the independent scene right now. And this is what he's saying. He was just messing around. He wrote this in jest. He was just trying to get a rise out of everybody. He was trolling, supposedly, and it definitely freaking worked. All right, because the whole entire Twitter universe went absolutely berserk on Randy Orton, which also caused this Rip Rogers guy to go on a Twitter rampage where every single tweet he's put up over the last few days has the word dive in it. And Randy Orton's been tweeting and using the word dive. And then Bubba Ray Dudley was like, this is a dive. And then Randy Orton was like, there's a difference between a young talent diving and a fat, out-of-shape old-timer falling in a direct hit on Bubba Ray Dudley. And then Bubba Ray was like, what the hell, man? I thought we were cool. In fact, we have Bubba Ray's statement right here. Let me pull this up. Because Randy took a shot at him directly through this whole thing. Here we go. Tag team legend Bully Ray was taken back by Randy Orton's Twitter antics over the weekend, and the ex-WWE superstar vented about it on his Monday radio show. Bully Ray talked about the social media debacle on Busted Open and said he had issues with Orton in the past, but they seemingly had buried the hatchet during his last run, which made Sunday very confusing. He continued, and I quote, I still consider him one of the best workers in the world, okay? So I have zero clue why he needed to take that shot at me. But you know what? It's all fine and good because me and Randy's paths will cross again. End quote. This all started when OVW trainer Rip Rogers posted a tirade on Twitter on Saturday about indie wrestling matches all being the same. Orton seemed to agree with Rogers and took a shot at Bubba Ray after the latter posted a photo diving off the top rope, as I just said to you before. When asked if Orton might be acting out of jealousy due to the attention smaller promotions like Ring of Honor are now getting, Bully Ray said, I don't know if jealousy is the right word. I've seen all the different promotions, I've seen all the different styles, and I appreciate all of them for what they are worth. I understand when it comes to wrestling psychology, and I understand what the perfect wrestling psychology is. Some people want to invest in sports entertainment, and some people want to invest in an entertaining sport. That was kind of hard to say. And everything in between. And I think that's what you're getting in the world of pro wrestling right now, and I can't understand why people are upset by 10 dives and 20 super kicks, because half of the roster right now in the WWE got their start doing that style. And that is from Bully Ray Bubba Ray Dudley of the Dudley Boys, getting right back at Randy Orton for what's going on. And I'm going to chime in right now. Let me just close this here. All right. This is directly to Randy and any of these fools that actually feel this way, because that's the thing. Even if Randy was messing with everybody, there are a bunch of people that came out and actually do feel this way and don't want to see independent wrestling because it's like a highlight reel. Every match is a highlight reel. Every match is a spot monkey jump flip fest and all these things people are saying. And I understand that. And you have a valid argument. There's nothing that I'm saying is wrong with how you guys feel. Everybody is entitled to feel how they want to feel. But I'm going to tell you guys why. Here's why. That's for Simon from What Culture. He does that in every freaking video. It makes me laugh. I just want to do it. I'm sorry. If you guys watch What Culture, you know what I did. If you don't, here's why. Why indie wrestlers flip. Number one, inspiration. You guys need to understand that this is a generation of performers that have grown up watching the likes of Shawn Michaels, Eddie Guerrero, Rey Mysterio, AJ Styles. I mean, let's not kid ourselves. AJ Styles has been wrestling for 20 years almost. He's in his late 30s. He's only feels new because he just made it to the WWE. But anybody who knows their wrestling knows all about AJ Styles. And they've watched him. They've watched him in the independents. And they've watched him do this flippy spot monkey stuff that gets you noticed. And that's all they're trying to do. They're trying to get noticed. And they want to elevate themselves to the WWE so they don't have to do this kind of shit anymore. Who likes to risk their life to that extent all the time? I certainly wouldn't. And I come from a different time when, I grew up in 80s wrestling was a lot of holds and headlocks and ground-based mat work, slower ground and pound type stuff. And then you have your finishing moves at the end, your Hogan leg drops, your Randy Savage elbows. You got treated to a little bit of Ricky Steamboat here and there with some of his martial arts. That was always a big thing. Oh, he's a martial artist. He knows, kung fu or kickboxer or whatever it was. That was your gimmick back then. That's what they did. But they don't do these things anymore. Not to that extent. And especially not on the independent scene. They have been inspired by the greatest of all time, who have done this particular style forever. And not just in the independents. Think about Shawn Michaels for a second. All the great matches we've seen. And it's not him versus some other guy his size either. We could talk about this as well. That's what makes a magical match, is the contrast in size. And you would see somebody like Psycho Sid throwing Shawn Michaels around. And Shawn Michaels is known for being overdramatic. So he's flipping himself over turnbuckles and all these real dramatic gestures. And why did he do that? Because one of his influences was the Nature Boy Ric Flair, who was one of the first people I ever seen get thrown into the corner and then just start flipping over and then would run across the other end, climb up to the top and come down with a double axe handle on your head. Shawn Michaels took what he saw from Ric Flair and made it his own and furthered the style. It's a form of expression, which leads me to number 2. It's expression. Wrestling is a performance art, like music and acting or sitting here on YouTube. This is an art. It's a performance that we're doing. We're trying to make you guys intrigued as we're getting some crazy hissing going on upstairs somewhere. What the fuck? I think that might be Randy Orton. I think there's a viper in my ceiling, and it's probably going to come to get me. What the fuck was that about? Anyway, where was I? Art form. We were talking about expressionism, right? And wrestling being an art form, like music and everything else. So people have their inspiration, they transfer it to what they bring to the table, and then they push the art forward. They don't just do what everybody else does. You're trying to do it in your own way. You're making your style of wrestling your own. You're carving a niche out for yourself by being the one pointed out, oh, watch this guy. You got to see Ricochet. You got to watch Will Ospreay. These guys do some crazy things. Things that you shouldn't be able to do with your body. You have to go check it out. Because you don't see this kind of stuff on the main stage. You don't see this kind of stuff in TNA or even Ring of Honor. Like on the independent scenes, you see it way more. Super kick after super kick after super kick. It don't bother me. It raises the drama of the match if that's what you want to see. You have to be mentally prepared and know that, I'm going to watch Monday Night Raw. You're not going to see flippy stuff. You're not going to see all this stuff. This is traditional. It's supposed to be traditional pro wrestling. Really, it's just a shitty TV show right now. But that's what wrestling's supposed to be. In the minds of many people, and that's where Randy Orton and these guys are coming from. But they all need to step back and realize that, hey, wrestling can't stay the same. Wrestling's always going to be changing and evolving. Look at some of the movesets the guys have now. Seth Rollins, AJ Styles, Samoa Joe. These guys all started off doing the very same thing that everybody's complaining about right now. And look where they've gotten to. It speaks for itself. And the final reason that they do these things is for exposure. A lot of these independent promotions, even Ring of Honor, they might have a TV deal or they have a YouTube channel or whatever, but nobody knows. They need to create a buzz. They need to elevate the whole company. So how do we do this? Well, we go out there and we put on a crazy match. It'll be a flip fest. It'll be dive, and crash and burn and suicidal stuff, planches and moonsaults and all kinds of craziness because we need to get eyes on our product. We need to get eyes on our guys so that they could be maybe found by the WWE or TNA, Impact, whatever. They have no avenue. They don't have a WWE network. Maybe they do now. With the IRWC channel coming up that Bischoff is involved in, that we're trying to get some type of involvement with as we speak right now. Maybe that's it. Maybe there's finally going to be a hub similar to a WWE network, but for independent wrestling so that they can have more exposure. And there's a whole sect of the fans that live for this type of wrestling. And I respect that. Because, hell, any one of those matches on the indies is 1,000 times more entertaining than anything they've presented to us on Raw in the last maybe 365 plus episodes. Okay? So, there is a place for every style. There is a place for every superstar. And when they're down at this level, it's almost a necessity to wrestle this way. It's the way that superstars are being bred. And they don't want to do this their whole careers. They want to get to the WWE and have their success and then take what they can and change it to incorporate it into the grand scheme of wrestling. Because once you make it to the WWE, you can actually change the sport. You could leave your mark on wrestling and future generations will watch you. Just like there are kids in the audience right now that are watching guys like Seth Rollins and AJ Styles, who's kind of a bad example because he's already an inspiration to some of the guys on the roster. But, the phenomenal forearm is going to be something emulated for years to come. And it will always be referenced like that. Just look at The Undertaker. One of his biggest moves was the old school, where he walks the turnbuckle and comes down and does that thing. He didn't invent that. He saw somebody else do it. He brought it back to the States, made it his own. And we, as American wrestling fans that weren't exposed to Japan back then in the 80s, because there was no internet, and unless you knew somebody that knew somebody that knew somebody that had a tape, you couldn't get your eyes on it at all. This is what happens. That's how it's. So when they are performing now on the independent scene, give these guys a break, because all they're trying to do is as good as their inspirations that have come before them have done, going down the same roads they have been. They're just trying to express their way of performing pro wrestling, because no two actors are alike, no two musicians are alike, no two bands are alike. They could all be similar, but everybody's got a message they're trying to send, or a particular style that they're trying to put forth. The same holds true, especially as the performance art of pro wrestling just keeps evolving. And again, exposure. These guys need to be seen. In order to be seen, there needs to be word of mouth. And people need to leave that show going, I gotta tell everybody to go check this out. Hopefully they put it up on Twitter or whatever it is that you want to show, because it's hard to show people what happens at indie wrestling. And speaking of indie wrestling, on May the 27th, coming up in just a few weeks, we are going to be at HOG. Once again, the HOG Adrenaline Show, May 27th, Memorial Day weekend. Coming to us from the NYC Arena, just like a hiccup away from my doorstep in Jamaica, Queens. And it's my first time at this venue. I'm looking forward to seeing it. The Elm Course Center, where we went for the last one, New World Rising, was pretty much just was like a rec center gym, which I've never experienced wrestling in that type of a venue before, and I'm not knocking it. I thought it was great. I thought it was intimate. I thought it was very, very different from anything else you'll experience. It's much more interactive, a lot of fun. And I'm really looking forward to going back. Cody Rhodes is going to be there. Booker T is going to be there. And there are rumors going around right now that this is going to end up being an Impact Wrestling taping going on. There might be a match or two that I'm going to witness that's going to be on air on Pop TV. That remains to be seen. I'm going to find out as much as I can about that. And because of that, we have a master plan, and we are going to try to get my shirt, or at least a sign, on camera. And if we are successful, we will let you know so you can check it out. I'm not going to try to hype and make you guys watch Impact. I don't even know what date it's going to show yet. So I will be on top of it. I will let you know as it develops. But can you guys imagine how we could blow up if we get the logo? This hammerhead right here, we got to get him out to the world right there in the middle of a wrestling show. I'm going to have my shirt. My wife will be with me. She's going to have her shirt on. We are second row from ringside. So the chances of us getting on TV in some capacity are astronomically great. And I look to take advantage of the whole situation. And we're going to wrap it up on that. And I will be bringing you a lot of HOG stuff on this channel. Trying to get more involved with them. And what else do we got coming this weekend? Backlash weekend. We also have the UK Championship Series special on the WWE Network. We are going to be on top of that. I cannot wait to hear JR's voice again. We talked about that in the last video. Don't forget to go back and watch that if you have not. We have a lot of great news that came out last week. The UK Championship special was one of them. I have my Superstar Spotlight on Braun Strowman. We are working on the next one right now, which will probably be about Finn Balor, because I got a lot to say about what's going on with Finn Balor right now. We're going to leave you guys at that, and a taste for wanting a little more. And thank you guys so much once again for being here. If you liked what you see, don't forget to hit that thumbs up. Hit that subscribe button. Become part of the family here. We are growing more and more every day, and we want you guys to come along for the ride. We also don't forget to take a look up top and check out the Super Subscriber Spotlight right here. Our most active subscribers in the comments below. Right up there. There's your shout outs. And we're going to update that for the next video as well. Don't forget to leave a comment below. Let me know what you're thinking about everything we're thinking. Let me know what you want to talk about. If you want to see a specific kind of show in the future, let me know. Shout at me. I want to talk to you. I want to know what you guys like. I want to know what you want to see. This way we can bring it to you right here on Sledgehammer TV. This has been the Sledgehammer Wrestling Show. I am your host, as always, Nick Nightmare. Along with me, as always, is Blue, the Snowball Microphone. And, as always, we are out of here. Thank you for watching. Dive.